Okay, good evening and welcome to our first Planning Applications Committee meeting of 2024. Today's the 16th of January, so a welcome to all our members and to those who might be watching this recording at home. I'm not going to go through the evacuation procedure because I think everyone has been here before and knows what the evacuation procedure is. I would like to welcome our new legal advisor, Jaspreet, who's joining us tonight for the first time, so welcome.
Thank you. Good evening.
Item 2, apologies. I have one apology, and that's from Councillor Shepherd. Item 3, the minutes. So the minutes from the 21st of November 2023. I wasn't there myself, so are members happy that I signed those minutes off? Okay, I'm not seeing any dissent from anyone, so I shall sign those minutes as a true and accurate record of the meeting. I'll pass those to you. Thank you. Okay, item number 4, declarations of interest. Do any members have any declarations not included on the schedule? Okay, again, Councillor Shires.
Impact this meeting at all, and I did tell Maria earlier that I've been asked to sit as a director on a alternative education provision for children with additional needs.
Indicating, so I shall move on to item 5, declarations of contact. Do any members have any declarations of contact? No? Okay, so we'll move on then to our next item. So we've got 2 items on the agenda tonight, and I'll pass over to Thomas, who will take us through the first item.
Thank you, Chair. This is a household application.
So we're just going to wait to switch over to the screen view so we can see the planning application information.
Thank you, Chair. This is a householder application for the proposed erection of a 1.8 metre high timber fence and gate to the front and side boundary. Objections have been received as detailed on the agenda. Here are a list of the key issues that will be assessed for this application. As you can see on the screen, the left-hand drawing shows the site located inside the red line boundary and its context within the local area. The right-hand drawing shows the location of the proposed timber fence within the site. In terms of the impact on residential amenity, whilst there are no significant level changes between the application property and the neighbouring properties within Thackeray Close, it is worth noting there is a difference in land levels between the application property and the properties located to the west on Campbell Close. The land slopes upwards in height from Campbell Close towards Thackeray Close from west to east. As noted in the residential amenity section of the committee report, there is no breach of the 45 or 60 degree line from any of the adjoining neighbouring dwellings. The proposals also comply with section 11 of the Sustainable Design and Construction Guide SPD. The overall impact on residential amenity is considered acceptable and is not detrimental to the neighbouring dwellings for the reasons outlined within the committee report. As stated on the previous slide, there is a difference in land levels as shown by the photo on screen. This is looking to the north with Campbell Close located on the left of the screen to the west and Thackeray Close on the right hand side of the screen to the east. The difference in height of the fence panels demonstrates the land sloping upwards. Similarly, the photo on screen looks towards the west with the properties on Campbell Close located in the background behind the application property. As you can see, there is a difference in the roof heights due to the change in land levels. In relation to visual amenity, the proposed fence and gate will be constructed out of timber, which is considered to be an appropriate material, given there are several wooden fences within the existing street scene. Additionally, given that the gate is the same material as the fence, the proposals are not considered to be out of keeping with the existing street scene. No materials condition has been proposed due to there being no existing use of timber gates or fences at the application property. The proposals comply with Section 13 of the Sustainable Design and Construction SPD. The overall impact on visual amenity is considered to be acceptable in terms of design and scale. Regarding highway safety, Warwickshire County Council Highways have commented that as the site is located at the end of a cul-de-sac, visibility for neighbours onto the highway will not be an issue. Warwickshire County Council Highways have no objection to the proposed scheme, and officers are in agreement with the response from County Highways as detailed in the committee report. The overall impact on highway safety is therefore considered to be acceptable. Officers consider that there are no reasonable grounds for refusal. As such, the recommendation is one of approval, subject to conditions. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. So we have it before us a recommendation to grant planning permission subject to the conditions as printed. Do I have a proposer and a seconder? Councillor Shires and Councillor Cape proposing and seconding. Okay, so I'll open this up now to any members who have any points they wish to make. Councillor Hartsall.
Application seems pretty straightforward. 1.8 metre fence is a little bit taller than I am, and I can't exactly be accused of being one of the tallest people in the world. So I can't exactly see why this would impact any light angles or anything, as the officers have come to the conclusion of. So to me it just seems straightforward, and I will lend my support to it.
Okay.
A hedge which seems to be in front of the fence, who does that hedge belong to? Because if a fence is going to be built behind it, it's kind of screening the fence a little bit and makes it a little bit more kind of soft. And I just wondered, if it's already existing, is it possible to have a condition that it's retained? Is that a hedge there? Or it's my eyesight?
If you look at the plan on screen, it's within the boundary of number 13, which neighbours the application property.
Okay, any further questions there, Councillor Cape, or comments? No? Okay, do I have any other speakers? Councillor Hammersley.
It's extremely difficult reading through this from planning, where with each address has been assessed, and the last line it says no unacceptable harm to the property, etc. And that's repeated on just about every address. And the proposal not considered to be out of keeping with the street scene. Highways have no objection, and officers are in agreement, etc., etc. I have no reason to object with this, because as it reads, it ticks all the correct boxes with planning, highways, etc., etc. Thank you, Chair.
No? Okay, in that case, we'll go to the vote. All those in favour of granting planning permission? Okay, so that is carried unanimously. Thank you. I believe, Rebecca, you're now going to present our second agenda item to us for the evening. So whenever you are ready, thank you.
Thanks, Chair. The purpose of item number 2 is to enable members to decide whether the Council should make a revocation order to revoke the hazardous substance consent at the Bedworth terminal within the Bayton Road Industrial Estate. Oh dear. Sorry, 1 minute.
Yes, sorry members, we have had an issue today where the system keeps logging us off for no apparent reason and we have to log back on again, so bear with us.
Okay, just because we're having some technical issues, I'm going to suspend the meeting for 10 minutes just to allow time for us to have a look at the IT issues. So I do apologise for anybody who's watching at home. It's now just gone 10 past, so we'll resume at about 20 past 6. Okay, so if we just sort of suspend the live stream for the moment, please. Okay, thank you. Thank you for rejoining us. We have now managed to get the IT working. So I'll ask Rebecca now if you wouldn't mind just to present item number 2 for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Apologies about that. So hazardous substance consent was granted in 1971 and renewed in 1993 for the storage of petrol, diesel and other spirits. The required storage capacity changed and a renewal application was approved in 2005. The fuel was stored within the cylinder containers, which can be seen on the aerial image outlined in red here. Puma Energy operated the facility during this time, however they vacated the site in 2021 and the cylinder storage containers were also demolished in 2021. The site is now being used as a pallet storage facility and the council is currently dealing with the planning application for this change of use and for the erection of an industrial unit for the sorting and repairing of used pallets. Although the fuel storage containers have been demolished and the use of the site has changed, the hazardous substances consent remains extant. This means that the council is required to consult the Health and Safety Executive on planning applications within a certain radius of the site, as shown by the coloured zone lines. The Health and Safety Executive usually object to planning applications within the inner consultation zones surrounding the site, as there indicates that there could be the risk of harm. And because of that, the council would not approve a planning application against the advice of the Health and Safety Executive. This then restricts future development within certain parts of the Baton Road Industrial Estate whilst the hazardous substances consent is in place. The Baton Road Industrial Estate is a key employment site within the borough, and applications for industrial uses and economic development within this area should be encouraged. However, the presence of the hazardous substances consent is restricting development. The Planning Hazardous Substances Act allows for the hazardous substances consent to be revoked by a hazardous substance authority. In this case, this would be MBBC. There are specific circumstances where a consent can be revoked, and if the reason falls within Section 1 of Part 14, compensation may be sought. This is because, similarly to a planning permission, the presence of a hazardous substances consent can add value to the land. However, if the reason falls within Part 2, the Hazardous Substances Authority can revoke a consent without being at risk of compensation. One of the reasons within Part 2 is where there has been a material change of use in the land to which the consent relates. This is considered to be applicable in this case, given that the cylinder fuel storage tanks have been demolished and the site is being used as a pallet storage site. This would constitute a material change of use from sui generis to storage, which is use class B8. Therefore, it is considered that the council could instigate the removal of the hazardous substances consent under Section 14, Part 2A of the Act, which is the part highlighted in orange. The alternative option in this case would not to make the revocation order. However, if committee vote with the recommendation, the next steps would be to formally notify anybody who would be affected by the order. This includes landowners, leaseholders and relevant consultees. They have 28 days to notify the Secretary of State that they wish to challenge the order and be heard at a public inquiry. If this is the case, the council would seek to justify its position at the inquiry. However, in order to reduce the possibility of this, the council contacted the current landowner and future leaseholder to seek written confirmation that they consent to the council proceeding to revoke the hazardous substances consent. This informal confirmation was provided. However, this does not necessarily prevent alternative representations being made to the Secretary of State at the formal consultation stage. Following the expiry of the consultation period, the order would be sent to the Secretary of State for confirmation, and then the Secretary of State will then consider the case and may confirm the order with or without modification as they see fit. The recommendation is to revoke the hazardous substances consent on the basis that there's been a material change of use on the land. In addition, the hazardous substances consent cannot be brought back into use without a further planning permission because the storage containers have been demolished. Given that the hazardous substances consent is no longer being used and the Baton Road Industrial Estate is a key employment and investment designation within the borough, it is encouraged to revoke the consent to allow the future development within the area. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much. So we have a recommendation before us to revoke under Section 14, Paragraph 2 subsection A of the Planning Hazardous Substances Act 1990. So that's revoking the hazardous substance consent, references BUDC 9453, TP 7604-00 and 009359 pertaining to Bedworth Terminal 72 Bayton Road, Coventry, subject to its confirmation by the Secretary of State under Section 15 of the Act. Right, got through that. So I need a proposer and a seconder so we can move to conversation. So thank you, Councillor Wilson and Councillor Smith, for proposing and seconding that. I'll now open up the floor to any members. Councillor Cape.
Education, I suppose. It would seem that the substance order is in place to stop encroachment of other buildings, and I understand that. Has there been a survey done of the land, even though the silos have been demolished, to ensure that there is no residue or hazardous material or nature there anymore? So in other words, can we be sure that the area itself is no longer presenting any hazard?
His consent was applied for the storage because it was over certain thresholds, so you can store lesser amounts without needing the consent. It's when it's over certain thresholds that you need it. So what we're looking at is taking that consent away. As part of that, I wouldn't say it's necessary for us to do a review on it. It would only be when we get a future proposal come in for that site that would then look as to whether that's okay, and if they need any, you know, contamination remedial, the environmental health would look at that as part of that, but not necessarily for this, no.
A future planning application, if necessary.
If there was a proposal that came in that presented some potential risk, then yes, an assessment would be required at that stage. Obviously, at the moment, the proposal is a pallet storage.
Okay, any further questions, Councillor Cape? Councillor Hammersley.
On Bayton Road industrial estate for over 25 years, these tanks that were there containing tons and tons of petrol, diesel, DERV, kerosene, etc., plus a row of, hence the siding name, of tankers from the railway also. There was that little bit of fear amongst the local businesses if it should go bang. So since it's been removed from 21 and it's gone, the local businesses are somewhat relieved that that maybe something that could go bang has been removed. And they're happy it's an industrial estate and pallets and industry go together. So they are more than happy that it's been replaced with pallets, and also that it encourages employment for the area. So I'm all for this removal of this licence, and it's the betterment for maybe for industry and employment within the area. Thank you, Chair.
On this matter. Okay, I'm not seeing anyone indicating, so in that case, I'll move to a vote. So all those in favour of the revocation order?
You want to say the whole thing again?
I'm not going to say the whole thing again, no. I think we all know what it is. Thank you very much. That's carried unanimously. Okay, we have no further items this evening, so I'll now call our meeting to a close. Thank you very much.